looks so cute with his hair tied back. Ah! Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir du Vide, and for the game 14 Days with You, there's been an update up to day 3. And I want to see it and spend more time with sweet Ren. So let's see what shenanigans Ren is plotting this time. Oh, I've missed you, Espoir. Are you going to record me again? In that case, hello, Internet. How dare you, Ren? How dare you? Shenanigans as soon as I start the game. But seriously, thank you. Thank you for these shenanigans. I appreciate it so much. Make sure you subscribe to Espoir's channel for me, okay? Oh, that way you'll be able to see me more often. Of course, sweet Ren. And I'll be able to see you too. So don't hide from me. Ren! Ren! No! Don't do me like this, Ren, please! Why are you hiding from me? Are you scared of me? Ugh, you almost got me there, Ren. Don't do this to me. Just kidding. Have fun, Angel. Okay. I was expecting a jump scare anyway. Oh, goodness. So I'm going to just start at day 3, unless some other shenanigans happen. So if you would like to see my first playthroughs of this game, there should be a whole playlist somewhere. Hopefully, on screen, maybe. Okay, so I believe where we last left off on day 2, we spent the night in Ren's house, and he's got like a huge house with marble floors and a huge bed and a mysterious locked door at the end of the hallway. But now we are waking up in Ren's house, in one of Ren's guest rooms. The unusual sounds of city life and traffic pulled me away from my slumber, and I waked to the sight of an unfamiliar ceiling. This wasn't my bedroom, and this certainly wasn't my bed. Last I checked, my duvets were a patterned purple, a housewarming gift from Violet when I first moved into my apartment, not this dark shade of black. Confused, I rubbed the sleep from my eyes in order to fully take in the rest of the room, and just like that, memories from yesterday come flooding back. Oh, right. Ren offered to let me stay the night due to the freak storm that swept over Corland Bay. It was sweet of him to do, and it had me wondering where he was right now. So Ren, how many cameras do you have in this room? Was he still fast asleep? Or perhaps he was already awake? Oh, I bet he looks like an angel when he's sleeping. Deciding there's no time like the present to find out, I stretch out the knots in my body, wake myself up fully, and jump out of bed. As soon as I walk out into the hallway, the mouth-watering scent of something sweet and sugary greets me. It almost has my feet floating towards the kitchen. Curiosity, or perhaps hunger, takes over my body, and before I know it, I find myself navigating through the maze of Ren's stupidly large apartment. Oh, I forgot, this is just an apartment, it's not a whole mansion. Speaking of the devil, and the devil shall appear, and he's adorable. Oh, he's so cute. I've only just now noticed that he's wearing a ring around his neck. There, Ren stands in his kitchen, hunched over the stove with a spatula in one hand and what looks to be a recipe pulled up on his phone on the other. Oh, he doesn't seem to notice my presence yet, so I take the opportunity to study him a little bit more. And although I could only see most of his backside and side profile, I could easily make out the concentrated look on his face as his gaze flits back and forth between his phone and the pan. Oh, he probably pulled up a recipe of something he knew I liked just to make it for me. I mean, technically, Ray hasn't done anything suspicious yet, except break into my apartment. But he hasn't done anything dangerous yet that we've seen. Yet. But just when I think he's about to turn around, Ren lets out a surprised noise and immediately lifts the pan from the stove. Oh my. Ren, your tummy, I can see it. Oh. I am looking disrespectfully at your tummy. Ah, Fluff! Hearing him swear so casually was still something I had to get used to, but that wasn't what made me speechless right now. Sniffing the air, the smell of something burning invades my nostrils and has me retreating back into the living space for some fresh air. Aw, did he burn it that bad? Wow, did Ren really manage to burn a pancake? Or maybe he just wasn't that confident in cooking. Hey, it's very easy to burn a pancake. Regardless, seeing him put so much effort into something so trivial did manage to pull at my heartstrings. Deciding I've had my fill of watching Ren, I finally make myself known. I don't want to be too mushy yet. Calling out his name would be nice. I'll save the other two for later. Stepping a bit closer, I wait until Ren turns around to scrape the burnt remains of pancake into the bin before calling out to him. Ren? Espoir! How long have you been awake? Despite his flustered outburst, Ren doesn't seem to move away from the stove. Good morning, Espoir. I was going to surprise you with breakfast in bed. Sorry, did I take too long? It was like I flicked an invisible switch, because all of a sudden, Ren was back to the usual timid personality that I'd grown to know. Aw, you don't have to go through all that trouble for me. It's fine. I wanted to. Really, here. Without giving me a second to spare, Ren conjures up a plate full of thick, fluffy pancakes from somewhere behind him, alongside a few toppings as well. I didn't manage to burn these ones at least. Eat as much as you like. I'll have this one. He gestures to the burnt pancakes still stuck to the frying pan. No amount of washing and scrubbing will restore the pan to its former glory. Oh, if it's that bad, it's inedible, dear. Giving Ren a pitiful look, I deposit a few fluffy pancakes onto my own plate before offering the rest to him as well. Ren, you've made enough to feed an army. Why don't we share? It's okay. I made them all for you, exactly how you like them. Oh? And how do you know how I like my pancakes? Yeah, Ren. How do you know how I like my pancakes? Deciding to tease him a little, I throw the light-hearted accusation into the air and hope that he'll catch it. Huh? Oh, I don't. I suppose... Don't people normally enjoy pancakes this way? I thought maybe... There he goes again, getting flustered beyond belief while his cheeks flushed a deep red. Oh, relax. I'm only teasing you. These pancakes are delicious, by the way. Oh, you were just joking. His mood immediately seemed to perk up once he hears my compliment. You like them? Really? You're not lying? Then I'll make them for you again sometime. If you want, that is. It's really no problem at all. Aww. I really don't mind. Aww. How about you just focus on eating first? Aren't you hungry? I snacked on a few while cooking them. Don't worry about me. You just eat. Want some different toppings? I've got strawberries in the fridge. Something inside me told me that Ren was lying, but I didn't feel like calling him out on it. Aww. I'm good for now, but thank you, really. Seemingly satisfied with my response, or lack thereof, Ren lets out a pleased hum, and instead moves away to busy himself with washing the dishes. Sit down and eat, sir. Eat the food while it's hot. My gaze follows him, and I absent-mindedly catch a glimpse at the clock on one of the shelves. 8 o'clock on the dot. Wait a second. 8 o'clock? I was going to be late for work. Oh no. As if picking up on my panicked behavior, Ren holds his movements and sends me a curious glance. Crap! I'm gonna be late for work again if I don't leave now. I still need to walk home and get changed and... Hey, it's okay, Espoir. Calm down. Look, your clothes from yesterday are washed and dried. Why don't you change into them? And when you're ready, I can drop you off at work.
Ren.
There I go again, relying on this enigma of a man and taking up too much of his kind hospitality. I was already overstaying my welcome by using his dryer and sleeping in his spare bed, but now here I was eating his food and being exactly 5 minutes away from getting a lift in his car. He really should be the one called Angel instead of me.
Thank you so much. I owe you my entire life.
Don't say that. And I thought I was dramatic. Another date with you would do just fine. Oh, well, consider it done. His soft smile is the last thing I see before I head back into the guest bedroom to change. But before I can make it 3 feet away, Ren's voice calls out to me once more. Oh, I should warn you, I don't exactly drive a car. Uh-oh. Are you going to pick me up bridal style and just... Oh. Turns out, Ren didn't actually own a car like I expected. He owned a darn sports motorcycle. All black, sleek, and scary. But what surprised me the most were the faded, always with you sticker decals that adorn the tank. So Ren was a fan of that webcomic as well. I always assumed the community was rather small. There wasn't much talk about the webcomic online, so it was nice to know someone else enjoyed it as much as I did. But just as I was about to bring the topic up, my vision goes dark as Ren places a helmet over my head with a smile. He fastens and adjusts the strap before motioning towards the back of his bike with an expectant look. Admittedly, I was a bit hesitant to hop on that thing. I would. But Ren assured me that he'd tell me what to do and keep me safe the entire time. Daunting, couldn't even begin to describe how I felt when the engine turned on, and I was certain Ren had scratch marks with how tightly I was clinging on to him, but I somehow came out of it unscathed. I have not ridden on a motorcycle, and I do not want to ride on a motorcycle. I even managed to bag myself a nice warm hoodie that smelled like Ren, even if its only purpose was to protect me from the wind and flying debris. And when we parted in front of the library with a friendly goodbye, Ren waited until I was inside the building before taking off. But I could barely make it 3 feet inside before a mess of blonde hair enters my field of view and almost knocks me over. That's good to know she's okay. Eleanor! I haven't seen you in forever!
Espoir! There you are! Quick, I need your help!
Eleanor's anxious demeanor catches me off guard, and I immediately do a sweep of the library for anything out of place. But I'm hardly given any time to take in my surroundings before Eleanor reaches for my arm and all but drags me behind the reception counter and towards a mountain of paperwork. Oh boy. Stacks upon stacks of books, files, newspapers, and manila folders cover the entire expanse of their desk, and for the briefest moment, it almost resembled a messy archive repository rather than her workstation. What has happened here?
What's all this? This was supposed to be sorted out yesterday. I swear I did it already. In fact, I know I did. I remember leaving it all in Conan's office before I left work yesterday, but you can imagine my surprise when I saw it back on my desk this morning.
What does this mean? Eleanor seems genuinely concerned, especially with how she's flitting about and pacing back and forth in front of me. It was almost like she'd seen a ghost, and if I didn't know any better, I honestly wouldn't have believed it.
Please help me. If Conan finds out I somehow messed up again, I don't know what will happen.
Our boss is pretty cool. I'm sure he won't blow a gasket.
Hey, don't worry, Elle. I'll help.
And I doubt Conan will get mad. You know how he is. Yeah, our boss is cool. Kinda cute, but cool.
I suppose you're right.
Her shoulders seem to visibly relax at my words, and she slumps into her chair with a heavy sigh.
Thank you so much, Espoir. Do you think you can manage this stack of books? I'll handle all the files.
Without missing a beat, lest our boss magically appears somewhere behind us, we'd immediately get to work. Time flies by quickly when I have my chatty coworker to keep me company. She fills me in on how the freak storm caught everyone off guard, and how some of the patrons shared the same idea of seeking refuge within the library as well. Oh yeah. Apparently, Eleanor was the only one around to keep an eye on things, and from the sounds of it, she seemed to take on the leadership role like a pro. Aww. Still, discussing her whereabouts had me thinking.
That reminds me, where did you go the other day?
I thought you were dead! Didn't you see the title screen, Eleanor? Don't you know what kind of game this is? People like you are in danger.
The other day? What do you mean?
You remember Ren, the pink-haired guy?
Him? Oh, lover boy.
Yeah, him. After we had that conversation with Ren, I never saw you afterwards.
Oh, let me think.
I watch as she inclines her head to the side to think, and all too quickly, she snaps her fingers and gives me an affirmative nod.
Oh, that's right. Well, this is embarrassing, but I ended up going home early. I must have accidentally bumped into something while cleaning the stockroom the other day, and before I knew it, one of the shelves came tumbling down on me. It wasn't until a little while later when Conan found me and pulled me out. Ah!
Ren, you better not have had anything to do with that. Eleanor's a sweet baby. No harm must come to her.
You knocked over an entire shelf?
Miss Creston. Knowing I was only teasing, Eleanor sends me a sheepish smile and bows her head to hide her reddening cheeks. But now that I think about it, the shelves in the stockroom had always seemed relatively stable to me. My coworker wasn't known for her strength, so it didn't make much sense for it to topple over that easily. Unless the person who pushed it was very strong and very tall. But thankfully Eleanor elaborates more, almost as if she could hear the gears in my head working overtime.
Well, I suppose it was a tad bit odd. I mean, I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now, and not once have I heard so much as a... I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now, and not once have I heard so much as a creak from those shelves.
It does seem strange, yeah.
Well, I have no doubt Conan will be installing new storage shelves soon. Oh, speaking of, did you notice the new awnings outside the library? I suppose that sudden storm from yesterday had something to do with it. In fact, oh, maybe you heard it on the news already. I heard that all the rain...
Our conversation gets cut short as I watch Eleanor's attention drift behind me and towards the flashing red light above one of the shelves. Duty calls, I guess. As soon as she stands, I shoot her an appreciative smile, which she returns with an apologetic one of her own, and meanders her way towards the aisle. Ren! Do not kill my adorable coworker! Now left to my own devices, I go back to sorting through the books and putting them into separate piles. I manage to get a solid 10 minutes to myself before the sudden sense of unease creeps up on me. It felt as though someone was watching me, so I take a curious sweep across the vicinity to try and locate the source. But nothing seemed out of the ordinary. People were studying, others were quietly typing away at computers, and I could even spot the back of Eleanor's head from her spot near the fantasy fiction aisle. Nothing was out of place, yet that unnerving feeling of having eyes on the back of my head still lingered. In fact, now that I thought about it, it was eerily similar to the feeling I got when I was walking home a few days ago. Violet's words about someone breaking into my apartment echo in my mind before it all suddenly dawned upon me. The supposed person watching me, could it be somehow linked? No, definitely not. Shaking my head, I try to dismiss those unsettling thoughts before they start to develop into something more sinister. Oh no, what if I have a stalker? Oh no, what if that stalker is adorable? Oh no, what if I've already met that stalker and started to fall in love with them? Oh no! There was no one watching me, After all, there was hardly anything impressive about me to warrant a stalker in the first place. I was as plain as they come, and if some a-hole really did break into my house, they left empty-handed. That alone clearly proved that I don't own anything worth stealing, except maybe my limited edition attack on giant figures. But even then, I remember thoroughly inspecting my entire apartment once I got home. Nothing was out of place, nor looked like it had been touched. Everything was as I left it that morning. Yet it still didn't explain why I was feeling this way. Fear and apprehension seemed to overwhelm my senses so much that my mind barely registers the sound of something rustling. And I looked down to see that I had been worrying the papers in my hands for the past few minutes. Ooh. Have I been stressing out that badly? Jeez, I was letting all this paranoia get the best of me. Shaking my head once more, I decide it's best not to let those thoughts fester and grow into something far bigger than it should be. No one broke into my apartment, and no one is watching me right now. I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and nothing was going to scare me. Why would you say that? Oh no, someone even prettier!
Hello?
Ack! Whoa! Instead of some creepy stalker dressed in all black, I was met with blonde hair and expensive-looking clothing. Clothing holding on for dear life. Was this the person I felt watching me? It was difficult to make out her words over the loud, rapping sounds of my heartbeat, so I tried my best to calm down before responding.
Sorry, I didn't notice you come in.
Welcome to the Corland Bay Library. Can I help you with anything? I hope I sounded professional enough, though I'm sure there was still a lingering sense of fear in my words and a facial expression to match. It's not like you scared the bedoodles out of me, lady. But it starts to dissipate as I take in the woman's appearance. Her green eyes seemed oddly familiar to me, but what gives it all away is how the woman slightly inclines her head to the side as she looks over me with concern. Are you related to Eleanor? Surely not. Was that? I don't suppose... Are you Kiara? Eleanor's told me all about you.
In the flesh. I'm actually here to visit my darling sister, would you believe? But now you've piqued my interest.
No, Kiara, run! I'm already spoken for, run away! Don't you know what kind of game this is? People like you are in danger! She shoots me a harmless wink and rests her hands atop the reception counter. Wow, even the clanging of her jewelry sounds expensive, and I can't help but look at her in awe.
Tell me, what else has Nori said about me?
She wants her jacket back. Well, I like her taste in fashion.
She'd better. I didn't pursue a career in fashion for nothing. Did you know I designed her handbag? It's from my latest spring collection. Espoir!
As if summoning Eleanor herself, she emerges from somewhere behind me and joins us at the front desk.
Kiara, what are you doing here? There she is. What, am I not allowed to see my little sis?
Aw, precious. Protect them both. Protect them both.
I'm at work right now. You could have texted me in advance. But I wanted to surprise you. And look, I come bearing gifts.
At that, Kiara places down a few bags branded with high-end prints and designer logos.
Sorry, darling. If I knew I'd be meeting you here, I would have brought extra. But I'm sure there's something for you in one of the bags as well. Pick whatever Eleanor doesn't want.
I genuinely wished I could be rich enough to say something like that. Aw, her sis seems nice. Hopefully nothing bad happens to her. The sisters seem fully engrossed in each other's presence, so I leave them alone so that they can have their moment to catch up. After all, I didn't know how long it'd been since Eleanor and Kiara had seen each other, and the mountain of work in front of me wasn't going to sort itself out in the meantime. But before I can silently slip away and sit back down, a tattooed man boxes me in and commands my attention. Oh no, I hope it's not. And for the second time today, The expensive smell of wealth and luxury floods my senses. Only this time, I know the person it belonged to. Oh no! It's the trash man!
I'm the trash man!
Get out of here, Teo! Get out of the world! Nobody wants you here! Get it away! Oh, he just showed up on screen and I'm disgusted! Dang! Who are they? Seemingly out of nowhere, Teo appears, with that familiar smirk on his face and an unbothered drawl in his tone. He's absolutely shameless with how his eyes take in both of the sisters' appearances before he's leaning more of his weight onto his arm and shooting me an expectant look. Don't even think about it, Teo. Trust me, you don't want to know what I'm thinking about right now.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
Given how he leans even closer to my side with a sultry grin, I end up believing his words. After all, I wouldn't put it past Teo to think up multiple ways to cause a scene in his free time. Not jealous, are you? Why would you even... Whether or not it was my sudden outburst that captures their attention, Eleanor and Kiara finally seem to notice us. And I thank my lucky stars for a chance to escape this conversation, to just get as far away from Teo as possible. Perhaps I could sneak off to the employees' lounge while everyone was busy talking. I'm sure... You work here too? I've got a few things here that you could check out. Get out of the world! Despite my disgust at Teo's blatant flirting, Eleanor seems to be eating it up with a slight blush on her cheeks. You stay away from Eleanor. She is a precious, innocent baby. You will not touch her.
Oh, actually, I'm just visiting. I don't work here, but little Nori over here does. I'm sure she could help you out.
Despite her friendly tone, Kiara seems to be passively shutting down Teo's attempts at flirting and redirecting it towards Eleanor instead. Yet, Teo doesn't seem to be picking up on it, instead choosing to lean a little more against the counter so that his muscles flex under his form-fitted shirt and crosses his ankles. You're not from around here, are you? I'd remember a face like yours. The name's Theodore, by the way, but cuties like you can call me Teo.
Charming. I'm Kiara. And no, I'm only in town for a few weeks. I'm visiting some relatives and finding some inspiration before I head back home.
Inspiration, huh? I could show you around.
Well, aren't you fun? What about my baby sister? Huh? But I'm older than you. Come on, live a little, Nori. You always tell me how you're holed up at work all the time. I suppose, but...
Looks like you're in need of a bit of fun. I can help with that. Have either of you been to the aquarium yet? It opened recently.
Not yet, but I'll have to give your offer a pass, I'm afraid.
Aquarium's not your style?
You're not my style.
Ha! Ouch. Despite the low blow to his ego, Teo didn't look the least bit offended. In fact, he seemed to thrive off of it. But as if fate felt the urge to intervene, Kiara's phone suddenly goes off and startles everyone.
Sorry, give me a sec. I need to take this call.
Oh no, don't leave him alone with a sweet Eleanor. She slips away before any of us can have the chance to respond, and without missing a beat, Teo immediately takes her previous spot beside Eleanor. And what about you?
Me?
Don't see anyone else around, Princess.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it'd be fun, but I suppose it would be a bit awkward if it's just you and me.
You heard her, doll.
Doll?
Don't you call me doll! Don't you do that! You're not allowed! As if finally acknowledging my presence, Teo turns to me with an expecting look on his face. Why don't you tag along? I'll even see if Leon wants to join the fun. It'll be like a double date. At that, Eleanor visibly seems to relax a little, I spare a quick glance in her direction, and I can pick up on the bear's hint of hope in her eyes. Eleanor, please tell me you're not falling for the trash man. Wait, she wanted to go on a date with Teo? I don't know, Elle. Oh, what? Got better things to do? Look, I'll pay for everything. I can even pick you up as well if you want. Sound good? Not that I'd ever openly admit it to Teo, but his offer was finally starting to sound tempting. I mean, free food and a free outing? It was too good to refuse. However... Don't make me choose. I'm only doing this for Ellie. Eleanor seems to brighten at that, and her smile just about makes it all worth it. Protect Eleanor's smile! Even if it means hanging out with the trash man. Atta girl. I knew you weren't gonna chicken out on us. Then it's settled. Leanna and I will meet you both here tomorrow after work. What time do you finish?
Around...
There you are, Spa. Oh, I didn't realize you were busy. Finally, it was as if someone had heard my prayers this time. Conan emerges from somewhere behind me. Does he have a habit of just teleporting? What was up with today? And offers me an escape from the current conversation. And without missing a beat, I turn towards my savior and spare him a thankful glance. I make sure to silently apologize to Eleanor as well, clearly uneasy with the thought of leaving her alone with Teo. Trash! But she seems all too happy with how she suddenly shoos me away with a hand behind her back. I guess, as long as you're happy.
Sure, I can slip away for a moment.
Thank you. Did you need something? Just need an extra pair of hands to sort through some boxes. But if you're busy, I'll manage it myself. No, it's fine.
It's fine. I could use a breather.
Okay, so perhaps I didn't need to announce that so joyfully. Regardless, I turned back towards Eleanor and Teo to send them one final apologetic look before following after Conan. Leaving poor Eleanor with the trash man. Apologies for this. I didn't mean to steal you away from your friends. This happened to be sorting through all of the books a coworker managed to knock over this morning, and making sure they were all in the correct category before putting them back into the cart. It felt eerily similar to what I had been previously doing with Eleanor, only this time there weren't any Teo-shaped annoyances to keep me company. Oh, you mean garbage-shaped ones? But man, I swear, Conan had to be the only boss who'd be perfectly fine with their employees slacking off to talk with their friends instead. He's a good guy. Sure hope nothing bad happens to him. He hadn't said a word about Teo, and possibly Kiara too, depending on how long he'd been standing behind me, and seemed more than okay with us huddling around the reception desk. Deciding not to push my luck, I returned Conan's soft look with one of my own.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I've been meaning to ask you something, actually. Has everything been going all right with you? Nothing shady has been happening lately?
What do you mean?
You haven't heard the news? There's been a few murders happening in the Bay Area recently. Admittedly, I have been worried for your safety as of late. You live by yourself, correct?
Yes, but I've recently had a friend stay with me. Now that I think about it, he's also been concerned for my safety.
That's good. I'm glad. Listen, if something ever happens... Conan awkwardly glances over his shoulder before returning his gaze back to me. Nothing but sincerity stares back, and I find myself in a stunned silence. Here, it's my personal number. But due to the lack of clarification, I ended up sending him a confused look instead of thanking him. I know you've recently moved back to Corland Bay, but you've yet to put someone down as your emergency contact.
Ooh.
I'm worried you won't have anyone to call in case something does happen. I want to make sure you're safe at all times.
Oh, thank you, Conan.
Of course. Conan? Conan? Haven't you seen what kind of game this is? You might not be safe if you're flirting with me, or are you just being a good person?
He gives my shoulder a gentle pat before resuming his original task. The conversation falls back into easy, comfortable silence, and I pocket his number before pouring all of my focus towards the books laid out in front of me.
Everyone's so nice. I don't want anyone to get hurt because of my cute yandere stalker.
The rest of my shift passes by uneventfully. At some point, Eleanor informs me that Kiara had to leave for a work-related matter and wouldn't be coming back for a few days. Still, it was really nice to finally meet Eleanor's sister, and it was even kinder of her to give me a fountain pen before she left. Or, at least, I assumed it was Kiara. I found the expensive-looking box sitting on my desk once I returned, and I wasted no time in opening it up and examining the contents. The pen itself appeared to be made from extremely high-quality materials, and the cursive ER logo looked rather fancy underneath the light. Ooh. I made a mental note to get something for Kiara as well, before pocketing the pen next to Conan's number and packing up my belongings for the day. But as I'm slipping out of the library's back door, I notice a familiar broad backside, a patch of blonde hair, and a bright red Hawaiian shirt standing near the alleyway's entrance. Is that my buddy?
Oh look, 2 friends, and some garbage.
As if sensing my presence, Leon turns around and greets me with one of his familiar warm smiles.
Good day, doll. Been a while.
He sends me a toothy grin before making space for me within the group. Eleanor greets me with a delicate wave, and Teo looks modernly annoyed, as usual.
Teo was just introducing me to Eleanor and yarning about this little outing he has planned. Hey, how come you never told me you've never been to the aquarium before? Makes sense, though. I reckon it was built a bit after you left the bay, right? So I doubt you had time to check it out.
Pretty much. Most of my free time has been taken up with moving and unpacking boxes. I couldn't help but find myself agreeing with his words. It was crazy how Leon seemed to know me so well, even though we hadn't had the chance to speak to each other like this in a while.
Aw, sure do hope nothing bad happens to him.
But I'm curious to see what it's like. What about you, Nari?
I couldn't help but let Kiara's nickname for her slip.
Aww. Oh, yes, I'm the same. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I've never been to an aquarium before, so this should be fun.
Well, here's hoping the weather will be more lenient tomorrow. It was peeing down buckets yesterday, wasn't it? Did you make it home all right, Sunfish?
All of a sudden, that eerie feeling comes back, and I resist the urge to turn around and look behind me. I only now notice that I've had my back to the dark alley this entire time. Espoir? Sorry, what was that?
You alright? You look like you've seen a ghost.
I watched as Leon looks behind me before glancing at Teo and Eleanor for what seems like reassurance. Ah, no, it's nothing. I guess I've had a long day at work.
Nah, I get it. Feeling tired? You should head on home then.
Please, don't let us keep you longer than we should.
Want me to drop you off? The car's out front. I'd rather walk through mud.
As much as I appreciate everyone's concern, I honestly wanted to be left alone right now to clear my head, and going on a walk would surely do me wonders. Besides, it was still somewhat bright out, and there were people around, so I had no reason to worry about my non-existent stalker. I also heard that some new merch arrived at the local manga store, which I had been meaning to check out, so that would surely help me get my mind off things. Ooh. It was along my route home anyway. What harm could possibly come out of a quick detour?
I will treat myself today.
At that thought, I quickly placate everyone's concern before bidding my goodbyes and heading off alone down the street. It wasn't until I got far enough away from the library that eerie feeling started to dissipate.
Like, I'm sure it's Ren. I'm sure it is. But why?
The nostalgic smell of comic books and plastic greets me as I enter the all-too-familiar manga store, and I immediately beeline my way towards the anime aisle.
I was set on collecting the last remaining accessories for my mini Attack on Giants display. Ooh. And I wasn't about to let my paranoia get in the way of that. But as I was passing through a few of the aisles, I noticed a familiar shade of pink near the cashier. Wait, what? Is that Ren? What? Oh, his hair is tied back! He looks so cute with his hair tied back! Ah! I didn't even notice his motorbike out front, if he even brought it. Up until now, I always assumed he walked everywhere. And even though he was wearing a mask and had his hair tied back, I could easily make out his large and lanky frame anywhere. Sneaking closer, I notice how he appears to be in a hushed conversation with the manager about something confidential, if their closeness was anything to go by, before he places a thick manila envelope into her hands and leans back. But before I have the chance to make myself known, Ren is already turning on his heel and slipping behind the large racks filled with cosplays and gaming-themed apparel. Ren? Why you being so sus, Ren? His height does him no favors, though, as I watch his head peek out from the top as he bobs and weaves his way towards the side entrance. At that very moment, my phone decides to jump scare me by suddenly going off, and it startles me enough to temporarily forget about Ren. Letting out a string of curses, I reach into my back pocket and pull it out, only to see Moth's name flash on the screen. Oh yeah. With a grin, I accept the video call and hold the phone up to my face. Is that what Moths looks like? They're so pretty! Hey, listen, now isn't really a good time to talk, but... Oh no, that's terrible. Get well soon, or sorry for your loss, or whatever. Anyways, listen. Guess who won an all-paid holiday trip overseas? Me, that's who. Really? It'd been a while since I'd last seen Moth's face, but they appeared just as boisterous as I remembered them. For free, too. I mean, okay, yeah, I still need to pay for food and stuff, but... Hey, where are you? I'm, in the manga store. Hold on, can we backtrack for a second? You got free tickets? To where? Is that a Haruko figurine? Can you get it for me? Please, 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 please. Moth. I'll pay you back. Promise. I'll pay for shipping, too. It's so cute. Look at his widow outfit. Look at his tiny little jacket and tiny little shoes. It's just me, marveling over how small the accessories of a thing is. With an eye roll, I reach behind me for the figurine, but not before picking up the accessories I originally came in here for, and slowly make my way towards the cash register. Once Moth hoots and hollers calm down, I gently try to coax them back into the original topic. Oh, right. You asked me where I'm going. Well, it's actually a surprise. Seriously? A good surprise, though. Hey, you're still in court. Why is glitching? For a brief moment, their screen starts to lag and a loading symbol pops up. Moth? I'll be... almost... that... okay? Are they coming here? Their voice cuts in and out, giving an almost robotic effect before the screen eventually fades to black. Was that some shenanigans? With a heavy sigh, I end the call and shoot Moth a text to let them know that they got disconnected yet again. Oh, okay. Was that a common occurrence? But as I absent-mindedly look out the window, I notice the blurry outline of Ren's figure sitting on a bench outside, busying himself with what looked like his phone. Ren, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here. Quit your shenanigans! Next! The cashier's voice pulls me away from my thoughts, and I quickly pay for my purchases, all while sparing not-so-secretive glances at Ren from beyond the shop window to make sure that he's still there. It was strange, but I couldn't help but hope I'd get a chance to catch up with him on my way out. I know it'd barely been more than a few hours since I last saw Ren, but I still wanted to thank him for letting me stay at his place for the night. Did I tell Moth about that? and for washing my clothes, cooking me breakfast, and driving me to work. The cashier pulls my attention away before handing me a bag and receipt. I give them my thanks before making a beeline towards the exit. You better not have disappeared, Ren, with your hair up. But just as the door swings open, I notice that Ren had already left. Dang it! You get your adorable buns back here. He was no longer on the bench where I last saw him, and I couldn't spot him on either end of the street either. It was like he was never there in the first place, and I almost find myself wondering if I had imagined the whole thing. I was starting to see him everywhere anyway, and it was beginning to come across as creepy. But Corland Bay isn't that big of a coastal town in retrospect, so I'm sure we were bound to run into each other again sooner or later. I mean, I literally met Ren at my own workplace because we shared a few common interests in books. His just so happened to be about native flora. That kind of stuff wasn't something either of us could control, and I was most likely looking too deep into it. Still, it felt strange all the same. Oh well, there was no use dwelling over it. I still had Ren's number saved in my contacts anyway, so I could always shoot him a text or even call if I really started to miss him. Gonna need a call Ren button at all times. It was beginning to get dark once I arrived back at my apartment complex, so I quickly usher my way up the staircase and onto my floor. But as I'm making the long trek up the stairs, I bump into someone lingering around the corner and almost end up tumbling down. Now I was about to say, is it my buddy Violet? Is it my good buddy Violet? Is it my best friend Violet? But no, it's you. Why are you near my house?
Whoa! Hey, watch it!
Glancing up, I notice that it's the cashier from yesterday who is glaring daggers at me while I try to steady myself with the railing. Listen here, little Miss Steal Your Man. That was Olivia, wasn't it? She makes no effort to help me, though she does move to the side in order to give me space at the top of the stairs. It's then when I take notice of the ginormous basket of laundry in her arms, and it makes me wonder if she was actually going to carry it all the way to the laundromat by herself. Wait, do you live here? Do you live in my apartment? Clearly, she was stronger than she looked. I can take her.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Olivia cuts herself off once the severity of the situation finally sinks in, before she sucks in her cheek and lets out an exasperated chuckle. Seriously, what could she possibly find so funny about this situation?
Of all places, a staircase? Really? Your boyfriend sure has a fluffed-up sense of humor.
What? Olivia, explain!
No, it's nothing. Look, I didn't mean to knock you down the staircase like that. I've got a lot on my mind lately, and I wasn't looking where I was going.
Hey, it happens. It most certainly didn't. I've got my eye on you, lady. You can join the trash can club too. But Olivia seemed to be having a rough day, so I wasn't going to make things worse by being rude to her. Says you, Espoir in the game, I don't appreciate her hugging up on my yandere. She already looked on edge for some reason, especially with how she kept sneaking glances over both of our shoulders. It was almost like she was looking for something, and I would have asked her about it if she didn't beat me to it.
So, where's that boyfriend of yours anyway? Not lurking around the corner like a creepy psychopath, is he?
Who?
Seriously? Your boyfriend, the guy who visited the souvenir shop the other day.
Oh, him. You're not talking about my golf ball-headed alien four-fingered boyfriend?
Oh, Ren? He's not my boyfriend. We're just...
Uh-oh. Don't make me choose. I've never seen that man in my life. So when I asked Ren to, when I invited him into my house. I did invite him into my house in this playthrough. And I didn't choose any of the choices that were very super interested in him. Huggy, lovey, kissy, boo. But, I'm interested in him.
You're interested in someone like him? I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, so scoot. Get out. Get off. Leave him alone, he's mine.
Excuse me? Nothing, just the ramblings of a stressed-out university student. Anyways, I'm in a rush, so please move.
Clearly done with the conversation, Olivia sidesteps me and starts to make her way down the stairwell. But she only manages to get a few feet away before she turns around once more. Resting her laundry basket on a hip, she looks up at me with an unreadable look.
You live on this floor as well? Then it looks like we're going to be seeing each other more often.
Alright, I'm willing to give you a chance, Olivia. Teo's gonna have to try really hard to get out of the trash can club, but I won't hate you as much. Because clearly you are spooked by Ren.
But just some neighborly advice. If you plan on bringing Ren around, keep it down. I'm not afraid to file a noise complaint.
Hey, we didn't even do that this playthrough. Madam?
And with that, she disappears around the corner. What was that all about?
Deciding it wasn't worth my time to mull it all over, I slowly make my way towards my apartment. Not bothering to turn on the light, I toss my keys onto the tray, shrug off my jacket, and unceremoniously drop myself onto the couch. Today had been a whirlwind of events and emotions, and the worst part was it still hadn't ended yet. I still had an hour or so left before I consider any dinner plans, so I figured I might as well spend the evening winding down in the meantime. All too quickly, an idea pops into my head, and I reach over to grab my phone. Invite someone over? Don't invite someone over. Who is this someone that I can invite over? Figuring it'd be best to catch up with someone instead of stewing in my apartment alone, I pull up my contacts list and idly scroll through it. Oh, can I talk to Moth some more? Conan's number immediately captures my attention. Oh yeah, being the newest addition to my contacts and sitting near the top of the list, before my curiosity begins to stray once more. Without so much as hesitating, I tap on that person's number and bring the phone closer to my ear. Why is Ren's all glitchy? Oh golly, I can call everybody! Let's just spend the whole night just talking to everybody. Well, obviously I gotta go with Ren. Gotta go with my sweetie pie, and he's been sus all day. How dare you not even say hi to me? I gotta deal with two trash people? Odd, I don't remember scrolling all the way down to view his contact details. Nevertheless, I find myself tapping on Ren's name and bringing the phone closer to my ear. He picks up almost immediately. I can practically feel the excitement, and moe flowers expel from the screen and hit me in the face. And before I know it, Ren is agreeing to come over as soon as he can, so I quickly turn the lights back on and clean the place up a bit and anticipate his arrival. I mean, I still have to thank him for him basically taking care of me that night. Barely 10 minutes pass before I hear a loud knocking at my front door. Almost immediately, I leap to my feet and unlock it with a smile.
Oh, Ren, hey, come on in.
I see you're still wearing my hoodie. I also brought some takeout with me, if that's okay. I figured you hadn't had a chance to eat yet.
Whoa, how'd you know? It's like you can read minds or something.
Or maybe you're stalking me and knew that I had no food. Barely registering the look on his face, I gently coax Ren into my living room. He makes himself at home on my couch, and I bring a few utensils from my kitchen for the food he so kindly brought.
Oh, by the way, were you at the manga store earlier today? I thought I saw you there.
Yeah, I know you did. I mean, because I saw you as well. After I left, I noticed you through the window. Well, that seemed to confirm my thoughts about Ren sitting outside the store. Good, I'm not crazy. Stabbing my fork into the food, I take a bite and let out a pleased hum for all the delicious flavors dancing on my tongue.
Oh.
Really? You should have said hi. I thought about it, but you seemed really focused on something. And then you got a call, so...
Oh, yeah. That was my friend, Moth. Oh, that reminds me. Ren.
At that, his full attention is immediately on me. Takeout long forgotten as the taller man moves in his seat to face me.
I remember you saying that you like Attack on Giants too, right? I could introduce you guys.
They're a diehard fan for the anime, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Oh, Moth is the one who's interested? Almost shyly, he turns his head away and meekly scratches at his jaw. Oh, he thought I was buying that for me. I don't mind, but... I wasn't expecting Ren to be so hesitant, and I suddenly felt bad for springing this on to him without considering how he might feel as well.
Hey, no need to force yourself. If you don't want to, that's okay. I just thought it'd be nice to let them have someone else to talk to, you know?
Moth has trouble making friends, and most of the time they're only talking to me. Yeah? That's too bad. He sends me a sad look, coupled with a frown, before returning to the plate before him. Although I was thinking about Moth, I really didn't want to force Ren into befriending someone if he didn't want to. Besides, maybe he has trouble forming friendships too. It was a little difficult trying to keep up with his sudden personality shifts. But at this point in our friendship, I was starting to get used to it. Deciding to lift the mood a little, I tried to change the subject to something more lighthearted. So, the rats, huh? Really, Espoir? That was the first thing you could think of? How was that any less awkward than what we were currently... Actually, I didn't want to say anything, but I think I saw one on my way up here. It probably made itself a home in that busted elevator shaft.
Seriously? Wait, do you think you could come with me and explain it to my landlord? I swear,
Your landlord isn't doing anything about it?
No!
I collapse onto the sofa with a dramatic sigh.
I honestly don't know what they're doing, if I'm being honest. I've sent so many complaints but haven't received a reply for any of them.
Really? Have you considered just moving?
Quite a few times, actually, but... I'm broke. I'm broke. Broke. I have no monies.
I'm not sure what I like, but I can't move because I'm broke.
I suppose this was the only place available at the time. Everything was a bit overwhelming at first, but I really wanted to come back to Corland Bay. I figured this would only be a temporary thing, you know, until I got my bearings.
I see. Then it's not so bad here after all, right? I mean, as long as there's no creep trying to break in and steal all your laundry or something.
Yeah. You've got a point there. I think I'd take the rats over a laundry-stealing intruder any day, but...
Are you sure about that?
Now that I think about it, who would want to break in just to steal dirty clothes?
While I'm sure Ren only meant it as a joke, it was oddly specific. Oh, I just figured that's what a normal creep behavior would be. You have a great sense of fashion, and I see your TV is still here, so...
Yeah, I guess it would be difficult to lug that down a staircase.
They probably should have asked the rats for help.
Again, with the rats.
I couldn't help but let out a laugh at his corny inside joke.
Wait, since when did we have our own inside jokes?
Now that I really thought about it, the banter I shared with Ren seemed very easygoing as of late, despite how serious the topics were supposed to be. I'd been worrying all day about this supposed stalker, yet here I was, casually brushing it off as a carefree joke. Still, is everything all right in your neighborhood? I've heard about the murders going on recently.
Well, no one I know has gone missing, so I suppose that's good, right? I won't lie though, it is kind of scary knowing that there's a killer out there.
Yeah, suppose so. But are you really okay with staying here alone? Doesn't that scare you?
I'm sure I'll be fine. I've got my neighbor, Violet, and if it's really necessary, I'm sure I could just stay with Leon for a while and...
Say, you could always stay with me instead. I mean, you've already stayed the night at my place, so it wouldn't be a bother if you wanted to come over again. I'd honestly sleep better at night knowing you're safe.
Aww.
And I always carry a spare keycard with me anyway. If you'd like, you can hold on to it in case something...
I appreciate the offer, Ren, but I can't accept that.
It's fine. Besides, you said yourself that living here can get overwhelming. If this can help you in any way...
I don't know.
Keep it. Just in case. I mean, you never know. What if that creep breaks into your apartment again?
Yeah, what if he does, Ren?
If that happens, you could come and stay with me this time. I could keep you safe, just like the first time you invited me over. The lobby is full of security, and they won't let anyone upstairs without proper clearance. Plus, I don't have rats.
I won't lie, Ren's offer honestly was tempting. The idea of having somewhere to go in case things got bad was a comforting thought, but something just didn't sit right with me. I know I've been spending a lot of time with Ren recently, but I still wasn't that familiar with him. And sure, I might have developed a bit of a crush on the tall guy, but I wasn't going to be swayed by my feelings. Still, the offer really was tempting, and it wasn't like he was asking me to move in with him or anything. Not yet. Now that I thought about it, Ren was the one giving me access to his home. It wasn't like I was the one in danger here. He was trusting me enough not to be some kind of crazed killer, much like the one on the news.
Yeah, how do you know that I am not actually the yandere in this story, Ren? Huh?
I can't help but crack a small smile at the somewhat morbid thought, and Ren seems to take it as a positive sign. But before I can dwell on it any further, I watch as he leans over to reach into his back pocket and pulls out something that resembled a plastic card.
Oh, he's giving me the keys to his apartment. Oh.
Ren wastes no time handing it to me, and I take a moment to look it over. His address and unit number are neatly printed at the top, and some kind of obscure barcode is on the bottom. However, the apartment name and logo on the top right corner are what really captures my attention. Sunshine Hills. I almost forgot he lived in the nicer parts of Corland Bay. They were known for their high-rise apartments and fancy penthouses, so I'm sure Ren never had to worry about rat infestations or deadbeat landlords. Though, the more I thought about it, the more willing I was to accept his offer. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea after all. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of programmer could afford fancy marble floorings, but as always, Ren remained a mystery to me. If this opportunity meant getting to know him better, maybe it'd be worth it. Yeah, sure, why not? Snapping out of my thoughts, I look up from the glossy plastic and focus my attention back to Ren.
Seriously though, it wouldn't hurt to keep it. And it's a spare keycard anyway. I can always get more. I already have a stack of them at home. They're real handy too. I can use them to lock up my office and bedroom without a physical key. But I always end up misplacing them all and... Sorry, Espoir. Am I rambling again? I don't want you to worry or anything. And you never know what might happen.
Yeah, I don't.
I've seen what's been on the news lately, and I just want you to be safe.
He wants me to be safe? Where have I heard that before? Well, I suppose so.
Great, then...
He glances back at the plastic item in my hands with an expectant look, almost as if he were waiting for me to put it away. And when I carefully shove it into my pocket,
Ren seems to visibly relax and lean back into his chair once more. Then that settles it. Come by whenever you want. You don't even need to call.
Aw, thanks. I think I'll still call him in advance, or even shoot a text. As lovely as Ren's welcoming hospitality was, I wouldn't want to disrupt or intrude on anything.
Yeah, you never know when he might be packing up a body or something.
As if picking up on my sudden silence, he clears his throat, gestures towards the food on the table, and scoops up a giant forkful.
Anyways, we should finish this before it gets cold.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Deciding to ease the tension once more, I speak the first thing that comes to mind as I stab my fork into the container as well. You look like a hamster. Aw, that's endearing. I don't know if that's rude or not. Food all right?
Try the wine.
Enjoying the food? Despite having his cheeks stuffed full of food, Ren manages to send me a pleased look and an awkward thumbs up, which was a feat in itself considering how he was trying to hold his utensils at the same time. Precious. It's good. Really tasty. Want some? He offers some of his takeout to me, but I gently shove it back with a laugh.
I think I'll pass.
You're missing out.
Oh, how sweet.
The casual banter continues throughout dinner, and soon enough all of the containers were empty and our stomachs were full. I dim the lights and switch the TV on at some point to fill the silence between our conversations, and soon enough, Ren and I find ourselves taking an interest in the movie that was currently playing. It was some unknown, sappy rom-com that came out almost a decade ago, yet Ren didn't seem to mind it all that much. I wasn't following the plot too keenly, but from what I could gather, the male lead just confessed his love for the main character in the back of her truck. To top it all off, it started raining as some slow, melodic love song came on the radio. The two characters were all too happy to share a sweet kiss with each other in that romantic moment, but the tenderness soon gets cut short once the scene starts to travel down a more heated path. The kisses become more passionate, and before I know it, I'm watching the main character lean across the center console to sit on his lover's lap instead. Clearly, I wasn't expecting this to happen in what I, falsely, believed was a harmless rom-com, so I dared a glance in Ren's direction to gauge his reaction. How do you feel about this? Yet aside from the faint dusting of pink on his cheeks, the rest of him seemed all too relaxed. There's an arm casually thrown over the back of the couch, while the rest of his body is slouched into the plushness of the seat. His lanky limbs are stretched out in front of him, while his thighs are spread out slightly, and the empty space between his legs was beginning to look inviting for some reason. No, I'm not going for the kill in this playthrough. Was it because of the movie? Before I can stop myself, I find my mind wandering. Oh no, don't make me choose. So right now I'm gonna change the channel. You don't mind, right? What was I thinking? This movie was clearly messing with my head. Subtly, I slapped my cheeks and focused my attention back to the TV screen. Not wanting to let this awkward encounter draw out any longer, I reached for the remote and flicked to the local news station instead. Uh-oh. A monotone voice droning on about the weather fills the silence, and I feel the couch move as Ren shifts in his seat. That was,
Yeah.
They were really going at it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Geez, I can't believe it's somehow even more awkward now.
But just as I'm about to do something about it, Ren awkwardly clears his throat and moves to stand up. It's getting a bit late now, isn't it? I should probably start heading home soon.
Oh, are you sure? You can stay a bit longer.
No, I really should go. Now that I think about it, you need to wake up early, don't you?
Yeah, actually, but how did you know that?
Oh, you seem like the early bird type. He doesn't seem to elaborate on that, and instead starts to pack up his belongings and head towards the hallway. Deciding that was that, I walked Ren towards the front door with a soft smile on my face. Today had been a lot of fun, thanks to him, and I was able to keep my mind off the events that would ultimately transpire tomorrow. Oh no! We're gonna have an episode of Beauty and the Trash! I was still unsure about Teo's intentions, but being with Ren helped me understand that maybe it was wrong of me to judge others so quickly. Oh, I judged Teo very quickly. At first, I thought Ren was just some shy guy with a stuttering problem, but over the course of a few days, I've learned there's more to him than just that. He had his moments of confidence, and it was endearing watching him stand up for the things he wanted. Perhaps I was being a bit too harsh on Teo. Even he deserved a chance to redeem himself. No. It will surprise me if he redeems himself. That will be the shock of the century. I suppose I'll get a chance tomorrow. Espoir? Sorry. Crap. I really needed to stop spacing out like that. I asked if you wanted me to lock the door for you. It suddenly hit me like a ton of bricks. I was still standing in the hallway while Ren was already waiting for me at the door, so I quickly rushed over to him with a flushed expression. Sorry, I was just busy thinking. I can lock it. Thanks, though. You do that a lot. It's cute. I almost rolled my eyes at his words as I lean against the front door and watch Ren awkwardly shuffle on my doormat. Thanks for today, and sorry for taking up so much of your time. Not at all. Thanks for coming over. Get home safe, okay? Ren's eyes seemed to light up the moment I voiced my concern over him. Yeah, okay. I will. You too. Or, you're already at home, so go to bed safe, or sleep safe, sleep well. What am I... Aww. Precious. I can't help but chuckle at his panicked state, and Ren seems to settle once he hears my laughter. Good night, Ren. Good night, Espoir. I'll see you tomorrow. The sound of the door shutting drowns out the ending of a sentence. But you didn't hear the "I'll see you tomorrow" then? Once I had nothing else left to do for the night, I get changed into some comfy pajamas and brush my teeth before settling into bed. The newest chapter for Always With You was going to drop in a few hours, and I figured I might as well stay up and read it before going to sleep. But my eyes were starting to get droopy, and all my mind could think about was the double date I had planned with Leon, Teo, and Eleanor tomorrow. Man, I sure hope everything will be fine. But I know worrying about it wasn't going to do me any favors, so I let my pent-up stress out on my pillow by smacking it and making it less lumpy. Though the moment I unceremoniously flop back down, I noticed the cold draft, and the fact that my bedroom window was left wide open. What? Strange. I don't remember opening it earlier. With a groan, I get up from my bed and go to close it, but once I lock it shut, something moves from within the shadows and startles me. You do have rats. Maybe you just have very clever rats. Play throughout this whole game and it turns out the rats are the yanderes, and Ren is completely innocent. Squinting, I can barely make out the black mass moving through the gaps in the fire escape balcony. What was that? A person? A rat person? It certainly wouldn't be strange for someone to take a cigarette break at this hour, but I couldn't smell any telltale signs of smoke. Maybe it was just our buddy, taking her plant out for a walk. Maybe it was my landlord's cat out for a leisurely midnight stroll. That idea seemed more realistic in my mind. Yet, despite my futile attempts at calming myself down, I still somehow find the willpower to go back to my bed, rather than opening the window once more and taking another curious peek outside. I didn't have a death wish, nor did I have the stupidity of those cliché horror film characters. But before I turn away, I double-check to make sure that the window is locked shut and the blinds are fully closed. I wasn't about to risk it. Happy with the precautions put in place, I make a hasty dive towards the warmth and safety of my bed. Snuggled deep within my blankets, I find it harder and harder to think about someone breaking in, and even more so with keeping my eyes open. Before I knew it, pink-colored sheep slowly filled my mind as I drifted away. Well, let's see if we can do things slightly differently. While I was going back and picking some other choices, I made a discovery. Talking to my friend Moth, when they're talking about the character, I like Haruko's hair. Haruko's hair is long now. He grew it out? I knew there was a 1-year time skip, but dang! Because last time, I've figured the character's hair was short, and I didn't want to get the question wrong, but I just randomly pick, oh, he has long hair now, and this happened. He has long, luscious locks now. Is that because I picked that Ren with long hair? I don't know how to feel about this. It's so pretty. Oh, fam, your hands are all messed up. Ren, how much are you listening in? So what happens if I say their hair is different lengths? I mean, look at that. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. So the very first time I said his hair is medium, and that's regular Ren. What, does his hair get shorter if I say Haruko's hair is short now? He cut it short? Let's hold a funeral. Rest in rip to his luscious pink locks. Gone, but not forgotten. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's like I think as much as I like long hair, I think I like it short. I think I like it short like that. So I went back, didn't completely reject Ren, but I made all the choices that are like, you're just kind of a friend, didn't invite him to my house, didn't really flirt with him at all, so let's see, and since at the last bit I chose to go to my own apartment instead of his apartment, I wake up in my own apartment, so let's see what happens from there. Almost like clockwork, my body reacts to the all-too-familiar sounds of birds chirping outside my window, and it pulls me from the depths of dreamland. Groggily, I roll onto my side and reach for my phone on the nightstand. I briefly get flashbanged from the brightness of my screen before squinting my eyes to make out the time. Glancing at the clock, I noticed that I somehow managed to wake up an hour earlier than usual, and that I received a few messages from Moth at some point last night. Oh yeah, I would have woken up late from work. Opening them up, I casually began to skim through them. Tell me you've seen the newest Attack on Giant theories. Big fat massive spoiler alert. Haruko lives? His butt really survived that massive blast from the Sorcerer? Look at these pics. You can clearly see part of his outfit in one of them. He's clearly still alive. By the way, let me know when you're awake so I can tell you about something super important. Anyways, back to my Haruko theory that I came up with and definitely did not steal from some online forum. In this 329-page essay, I will. There still seemed to be quite a few more lengthy messages from Moth underneath, but I figured I got the overall gist of things already. In fact, after looking at all these messages, I was beginning to think that Moth didn't really have anyone else to talk to about Attack on Giants, which didn't really surprise me. They weren't exactly the best at opening up and getting to know others, let alone with strangers online, so it was a wonder how we managed to become friends in the first place. Back then, we were both new fans who wanted to fawn over Attack on Giants on some online forum, Yet we somehow crossed paths and clicked immediately. Aww. And even now, the franchise is still insanely popular within the anime community, garnering many fans who love to discuss episode theories with others online. Yet, Moth always seemed to come to me before anyone else, and for that I was grateful. I honestly didn't mind in the slightest, and I also got to gush to them about my hyperfictions in return. But, man, I just wished our time zones would be more lenient. I always manage to catch Moth as soon as I'm going to bed, and they always seem to message me while I'm halfway through my sleep cycle. Well, there's no use in thinking too much about it. Putting those thoughts aside for now, I decide to spend the rest of my morning going through the rest of Moth's messages instead, and even sending back a few theories of my own before getting ready for work. But before I begrudgingly leave the warmth and comfiness of my bed in favor of making breakfast, I make sure to give my new Haruko plushie a squeeze and a pat on the head. Aww. With a full stomach and a slight bounce in my step, I casually make my way towards the Corland Bay library. Even from here, I could make out Eleanor's fancy welcome message written on the chalkboard sign, and from the looks of the parking situation outside, it didn't seem that busy. Yet. What captures my interest, however, is a black sports motorbike propped up in one of the parking spots. I could make out a ton of small anime decals on the tank, but what really catches my attention were the Always With You stickers. Whoever owned that bike must have been a fan of the webcomic, and I honestly wanted to be their friend because of it. Because, as unfortunate as it is, the only person I had to talk to about this was Moth. But it made a lot of sense, considering how Always With You was only published recently, and the fandom was still so small. Not many people were aware of its existence, but that was slowly starting to change. Physical copies of the webcomic were starting to appear in stores, and despite my attempts, I had yet to get my hands on one. Or maybe, one day. Now wasn't the time to be dwelling on these things. I would have been late for work if I stayed in my head any longer. Not wasting any more time, I quickly sped up the stairs and entered the library. But I barely make it 3 feet inside before a mess of blonde hair enters my field of view and almost knocks me over. L.A.
Did you notice the new awnings outside the library? I suppose the sudden storm from yesterday had something to do with it. In fact... Oh, perhaps you saw it on the news already. Some poor woman was found...
What? Our conversation gets cut short as I watch Eleanor's attention drift behind me and towards the flashing red light above one of the shelves. What do you mean a woman was found? What? That's some new dialogue that just popped up. It was beginning to get dark once I arrived back at my apartment complex, so I quickly usher my way up the staircase and onto my floor. But as I'm making the long trek up the stairs, I bump into someone lingering around the corner and almost lose my footing. Ow!
So pretty!
Wait, where's the other girl? Where's Olivia? Where's Olivia? Oh my gosh, she's so pretty! All the girls in this are so pretty! And the combo of blue eyes and white hair is one of my favorites. And she's got a kitty cat. Are pets allowed in the building? You? Who's you?
Me?
Wait, is that the landlord? She's so pretty! Dang it, my landlord is beautiful. Yes, have you been getting my complaints?
Complaints? About the rats! You have rats?
She really didn't know. This woman was supposed to be my landlord, yet she had no idea about the rat infestation or the broken elevator. Ma'am, you look like you have bigger concerns about turning into a Sailor Scout. And protecting the world from the Dark Moon or something. How could she be in charge of an entire apartment complex and not hear about a single complaint? I mean, sure, the lobby and hallways are always kept neat and tidy because of her, but everything else? they were bordering on being run down and falling apart at the seams.
I'm sorry. I get so many letters piling up that I just stop reading them altogether at this point.
Ma'am! You may be beautiful, but ma'am!
Excuse me?
Was she serious?
It's okay. Don't worry about it. If the rats are hungry, we can feed them some of my letters.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
You've got to be joking. They've already torn a hole right through my mattress, and I'm worried about what will be next.
Your shoes, probably.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What? I mean, I'm not a rat, so I really wouldn't know.
What is happening right now? Lady, did you get lobotomized? You look... You and your cat look like you are in a state of bliss.
You're asking me about what rats eat?
No, I'm complaining to you.
Complaining about what rats eat?
That's it. I'm moving out as soon as the opportunity arises. My landlord is adorable, but a dummy. Shouldering past my annoying landlord, why did she pop up, and not Olivia? I march my way towards my apartment and gruffly unlock the door with a huff. What if I don't invite anyone over? Just sit in my desolate room. No lights, no music, and the rats! Maybe it wasn't such a good idea after all. I mean, I've already spent the entire day talking to my friends, so perhaps it would be best to simply spend time with myself instead. After all, I definitely deserved it. So much has been going on lately, and I could use a distraction to take my mind off things. And so, I decided to make myself an early dinner before settling into the comfort of my bed and catching up on some webtoons. Once I had nothing else left to do for the night, I get changed into some comfy pajamas and brush my teeth before settling into bed. Same playthroughs as before, like kind of not giving Ren much time of day. What if I invite literally anyone else over? What if I invite Moth over? Quickly glancing at the time to make sure it wasn't too early for them, I tap on Moth's name and bring the phone closer to my ear. The phone rings a few times before they pick up with a happy lint in their tone.
Well, well, well. Look who came crawling back. Sorry about earlier. I'm not sure what the deal is with my Wi-Fi.
Hold up, rewind. Why am I crawling?
Why wouldn't you be? I'm the only person you know who has all the latest AOG gossip. Anyways, what's up, E?
Felt bored. Wanted to hear your lovely voice again.
Please, I can hear the sarcasm dripping through the phone right now. Seriously, what's up?
How did they know me so well? Actually, I'm going on this double date tomorrow, except it's not really a date. For me, at least.
And how is it not a date? You'll be hanging out with someone you're interested in, right?
No, it's my best friend.
Heh, me? I didn't know we were going on a date together. I'm flattered, dude.
Oh, my other best friend.
I'm going to pretend like you didn't just pause for 6 whole seconds to come up with that lame excuse.
Despite the harsh words, I could tell Moth was joking. Their eye roll was practically audible.
So what's so bad about this not a date with your other best friend?
Well, for starters, he's someone I've practically known since birth. And the other two people happen to be my coworker with the purest soul I've ever seen, and my other friend who's practically the devil incarnate.
I think I've seen an anime about that once.
Moth, not helping.
Sorry. Look, you said it yourself. You're not going on an actual date. There shouldn't be anything to worry about, right?
You don't understand. It's not Leon I'm worried about. Was I really about to let Moth in on about the more personal details regarding my friendships? Well, I guess there's a first for everything. Teo is honestly the worst person for Eleanor. He isn't exactly the type to settle down, and Elle's the biggest hopeless romantic I know. We must protect her innocence. She always talks about having that white picket fence dream, whereas Teo can barely sit through a single conversation about his own feelings. I knew I was beginning to ramble at this point, but I couldn't seem to stop myself. And what's worse is that Teo was suddenly interested in a relationship all of a sudden. I don't get what his motives are.
I'm sure people can change. Maybe he's entering his magical girl era.
It was a weak response, but I could tell Moth was being sincere about it. Magical girl era.
I mean, from what you've told me in the past, your coworker sounds like a real nice gal. Maybe Teo feels the same way.
It just doesn't seem like something he'd do, though. I let out a sigh and absent-mindedly run my hands over my pants in order to smooth out the wrinkles. Sorry, you probably didn't expect me to call you up just to rant to you.
Hey, it's all good. I don't mind. And you know I always do the same. Besides, it's my duty as your bestest friend, both online and in real life.
I couldn't help but chuckle at that. But saying real life implies we've met in person already.
Funny. Say that, E, 'cause you're soon. Maybe if you're...
All of a sudden, the call cuts out for the second time today. Ren! Ren, let me see my friend, Ren! I know you're doing this! Dang, curse their horrible Wi-Fi. Well, there wasn't much I could do about the faulty connection. Figuring I had nothing else left to do for the night, I decide it's finally time to satisfy the cravings of my stomach. Without wasting any more time, I get up and tiredly trudge around my apartment as if my body were on autopilot. But just as I'm about to enter the kitchen, my phone rings once more. Glancing down, I notice Ren's contact details flash on the screen. Did he want to talk? Admittedly, I was a bit curious to see Ren again, after missing him in the manga store earlier. A beat passes, and before I can stop myself, I answer his call. His soothing voice greets me, and I can practically feel the excitement and moe flowers expel from the screen and hit me in the face. Aww. Wait, why is he coming over? Ren, why are you coming over? I'm about to go to bed! And before I know it, Ren is agreeing to come over as soon as he can, so I quickly turn the lights back on, clean the place up a bit, and anticipate his arrival. I watch as he awkwardly shuffles about in the hallway, almost uncertain if he should come inside or not. He moves to take off his shoes, and I watch in awe as he neatly stacks them next to the umbrella rack. Oh, are you the type to leave your shoes on at home? Sorry, I'll... No, you're fine. God, he really was adorable. I also brought some takeout with me, if that's okay. I figured you hadn't had the chance to eat yet. You like Attack on Giants too, don't you? I mean, your hair and outfit, it was inspired by Haruko, right? I know I must be coming on a bit strong, but Ren and I have been getting to know each other a bit better over these past few days. And somehow, I knew he wouldn't freak out as much if he knew about my more nerdy side. Sparing a glance at Ren, he seemed to be handling it well enough, if the interested yet curious look on his face was anything to go by. I picked him to have the short hair. In fact, Ren seems almost on the edge of his seat with how intently he's staring at me. He must be really interested in Haruko as well to garner this sort of reaction. In some way, it was comforting to know we shared a few more similar interests, despite me kind of giving him the cold shoulder this playthrough. Haruko is actually one of my favorite characters at the moment. He's been for a while now, actually. Oh, but that's not the point. The point is, Moth loves Haruko too. I could introduce you guys. They're a diehard fan of the anime, and I'm sure they'd... Oh, Moth is the one who's interested? Aw. Don't hurt anybody who's cool. There's only 2 people you're allowed to hurt, Ren. You leave Moth and Olivia alone. What if I say, my neighbors are friendly? Well, everything was a little overwhelming in the beginning, but my neighbor was nothing but kind to me when I first moved in, and she always has the best afternoon snacks. I see. Then it's not so bad here after all, right?
You look like a hamster.
Well, it was true. With how Ren was stuffing food into his mouth, he almost looked similar to a fluffy pink hamster. Oh, you've gone and done it now, Ren. There's gonna be tons and tons of fan art of you as a cute little hamster. Almost immediately after hearing my words, his cheeks flush a deep red as he chokes down his food. A hamster? Usually I get a fox or puppy. I'm not mad, though. Now that I think about it, you kind of look like a chipmunk.
Aww.
With an eye roll, I playfully shove Ren's arm and pretend like I didn't agree with his words. Oh, so he came over anyway. What if I invite Violet over? Does anything happen if I call Violet? I haven't talked to her in a while. The phone rings exactly 4 times before Violet picks up, and we barely get a few minutes into the call before she's suggesting that I come over instead. Admittedly, it was a nice idea, and before I know it, I'm picking up my keys and heading out.
Ooh.
I can already smell the soft aroma of lavender and thyme the moment I step out of my apartment and make my way across the hall.
Ooh, I want to see Violet's house.
Almost looks like my own. Following the flowery scent towards Violet's front door, I barely have to knock 2 times before my neighbor appears on the other side, with a gentle expression on her face.
Come in. Make yourself at home. I'll bring us some snacks while you get settled. Now that I think about it, I don't think you've met Christy yet.
Violet gently ushers me into her open-plan kitchen before muttering something about retrieving a few things from the pantry. She disappears from my sight momentarily, only to return once more, with her hands full and a bounce in her step. Alongside a tray of what looked like home-baked cookies and a teapot.
Aww.
Violet reveals a potted gardenia up to eye level and pretends to make it wave by moving one of its leaves.
Aww. This is Christy. She's very shy, but here, help yourself to anything you'd like.
My neighbor's smile doesn't seem to falter as she offers me a plate of cookies and some herbal tea, before she grabs some for herself as well.
You know, your aura seems off today. Have you eaten yet?
Not yet. I've been feeling a bit angsty since this morning, if I'm being honest.
Oh dear, what happened?
Well, was I really about to confide in my neighbor about rather personal details regarding my friendships? Well, I guess there's a first time for everything. Actually, I'm going on this double date to the aquarium tomorrow, except, well, it's not exactly a date.
I'm not quite sure I follow. It's not going to be a date?
Well, my childhood friend and I kind of got roped into tagging along with an outing between a coworker and my friend, Teo. He's been adamant on calling it a double date. I watch as Violet's face scrunches up at the mention of Teo's name, which made sense, considering how she's been well acquainted with him in the past.
Oh, the garbage? The garbage man? The trash man? The man made entirely of trash?
I didn't know the exact details of their history, but I did know that Teo and Violet never really got along with each other.
That big musclehead is still up to his usual antics?
Unfortunately, it seems rather odd, though. I mean, you and I both know he isn't the type to settle down, and Eleanor, my coworker, is the biggest hopeless romantic I know. She always talks about having that white picket fence dream, whereas Teo can barely sit through a single conversation about his own feelings. I knew I was beginning to ramble at this point, but I couldn't seem to stop myself. And what's worse is that Teo was suddenly interested in a relationship all of a sudden. I don't get what his motives are.
He certainly is a cunning person. I wouldn't put it past him.
It was a weak response, but I could tell Violet was trying to be considerate of my feelings.
Though it has been a while since I've last spoken to Teo. Perhaps he's changed his ways.
I still don't think so. It doesn't really seem like something he'd do, though. Sorry, Vi. You probably didn't expect me to come over just to rant about my problems.
It's quite all right, Espoir. I'm always happy to lend an ear. And sometimes it's good to get your thoughts out. It helps to...
All of a sudden, Violet's phone starts to buzz in her pocket. She sheepishly pulls it out, only to frown at the message displayed on the screen.
Oh dear, something's going wrong at work. I'm sorry, but I think I'll need to...
Oh, go ahead. I should head back home anyway. Sorry for taking so much of your time.
There's nothing to be sorry for. We had a lovely time together, didn't we? Here, take some more cookies before you go.
I don't get much of a choice before Violet deposits more of her baked goods onto my empty plate and places it in my hands. Oh, nothing bad better happen to Vi! She even walks me to her door before stepping up behind me as well, and it has me wondering if she was about to head to her workplace at this hour. But it seems my thoughts get answered once Violet procures a set of keys from somewhere and begins the lengthy process of locking her door. When I catch that landlord again, I swear.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, Espoir?
Her gaze seems to drift from my face to the stairwell behind me.
No, never mind. Good night, Espoir. Make sure to lock your door once you're inside.
Sure. What? With that awkward farewell, I leave Violet to her own devices and head back to my apartment across the hall. But I don't think she had a problem at work. I think Ren did some shenanigans and made her stop talking to me so that I would come back to my apartment. Because Ren calls me, and then he invites himself over. And Ren did that so that I would be home. I see your game, Ren. And by that I mean I don't see your game. What are you doing? How are you doing this? Okay, talk to Ren, talk to Moth, talk to Violet. We can talk to everybody. We can even talk to Jay? I don't even know if we saw him this episode. Eleanor. What does Eleanor have to say about the situation? It takes a while before Eleanor answers, but she seems more than happy to come over to my place and spend some more time together. Aww. And so I quickly turn the lights back on, clean the place up a bit, and anticipate her arrival. Listen, we need to have a talk about Teo, ma'am.
Hello? Espoir? I hope I got the right address. Ellie!
Barely 20 minutes pass before I hear Eleanor's soft voice at my front door. Almost immediately, I leap to my feet and unlock it with a smile. Eleanor, hey! Sorry for calling you over on such a short notice, especially after chatting your ear off the entire day.
It's no problem. I don't mind spending more time with you. That reminds me.
Without missing a beat, Eleanor reaches into the depths of her handbag and pulls out a small object.
Ta-da! Your favorite bookmark. I found it all alone on one of the shelves earlier today.
Oh? Did I really lose one of my anime-themed bookmarks? I thought I left it beside my stationery equipment by my desk. What was it doing on a shelf? I don't know why or how, but I have a feeling it was Ren. Hey, thanks. I don't remember leaving it there, though.
Oh, perhaps one of the children put it there. You know how they can get.
You've got a point. I wouldn't put it past Teo to do such a thing. Although I was only trying to make a lighthearted joke, I notice Eleanor's posture straighten up at the mention of Teo's name. No, baby, no, you're too innocent. You're too pure. Everything okay?
I'm rather nervous, actually. This is a little embarrassing, but it's been a rather long time since I've gone on a date with someone.
Eleanor tries to hide her flushed cheeks by stuffing her face full of some of the snacks I laid out on my coffee table. Oh, Eleanor, no. Are you worried about Teo? He's not exactly a bad guy, but I don't know, he seems entirely made out of garbage.
Espoir?
She slightly tilts her head to the side in confusion, and admittedly, I find it rather adorable.
What's wrong?
Can I be completely honest with you, Elle? Almost immediately, She nods her head and scoots closer to me. One of her hands reaches for mine, and she gently gives it a squeeze in a reassuring manner. She's too pure! Teo isn't... Well, he's not exactly the type of person who wants to settle down or be in a relationship, let alone go on dates unless it's for its own benefit. I search her face for any sort of reaction before continuing. It was honestly a little strange watching him act that way in the library this morning.
Oh.
I feel a sudden pang of guilt wash over me as Eleanor pulls away slightly, bringing both of her hands to her chest as if it'd make herself seem smaller.
I suppose it would be a bit silly for a good-looking guy like Teo to be interested in someone like me.
Hey now.
It's okay. I'm fine, really. This wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened. But I'll get over it. Nothing a good romance novel can't solve.
Ellie, no. She gives me a soft smile, though I can tell by the shakiness of her voice that she wasn't speaking the truth. Was it really that hard for me to accept that maybe Teo was interested in Eleanor after all? I don't know. I still wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him, and I'm very weak. Listen, you're lovely, Elle. I'm sure Teo noticed it too, which would explain why he was so insistent on inviting you out.
You really think so?
I know so. I couldn't ask for a better workmate.
Me too. You don't know how happy I am to work with someone like you, Espoir, and...
All of a sudden, Eleanor's phone vibrates from somewhere within her handbag, alerting her of an incoming text. Ren, let me... She's my work friend.
It seems Kiara's having trouble with something at home. Do you mind if I...
Oh, yeah, go for it. Sorry for inviting you over at such a late notice.
It's okay. I'll always make time for you. I really must be going, though. Thank you for inviting me over. Make sure to eat something more hearty before you go to bed, but wait an hour before sleeping.
I will.
And drink water.
I will.
And don't forget to close your window before... Oh, hello, Violet. And hello, Catherine. It's been a while since I've seen you both.
Not wanting to see how the conversation will unfold, I quickly retreat back into the safety of my hallway. Aw, Eleanor is too pure. Conan? What's Conan gonna say? Is my boss gonna come over to work or something? And how is Ren going to steal him away from me? Conan? Admittedly, calling up my boss wouldn't be the weirdest thing for me to do. No, the weirdest thing is gonna be Teo. The phone rings and rings, though no one seems to pick up. Boss! Hey, boss! Perhaps he was busy? Or maybe he was still at the library. But before I can berate myself for doing something so ridiculous as calling my employer, Conan finally answers. Yes?
Conan? This is Espoir.
Can you tell me more about that murder that happened something? Ah, Espoir. Good evening. Is everything all right? It's a bit late for these sort of calls. His concern is evident in his tone, and I almost feel bad for making him worry.
Yeah, sorry. I know it's late, but I just wanted to call you so you'd have my number.
Wow. Nice save, Espoir. Well, yeah.
Now that I think about it, maybe texting you would have been a better idea.
It's quite all right, as long as you're fine. Thank you for your number.
Thank you for giving me yours.
Oof. This conversation couldn't get any more awkward, could it? Oh, it can. Of course, your safety means a lot to me. In the event that something should happen, don't hesitate to call me.
Right.
An awkward pause ensues, and I'm so close to pretending that the connection dropped just so that I could end the call. But it seems fate is on my side tonight, because suddenly something on the other end of the line captures Conan's attention and pulls him away momentarily. Ah, I believe Alice needs my assistance. I'll have to go shortly.
Oh, that's fine. No worries. Thanks again for talking with me.
And you as well, sweetheart. boss! Hey, boss! Boss! You don't just call me sweetheart and get away with that. We'll have to continue this conversation another time. Perhaps when we're both free. Sweetheart? Yeah, sure. Definitely. I was beginning to sound a lot like Ren. Yeah, well, my boss is starting to sound like Red. Sir! Monsieur, what's going on here? Good night, Espoir. Enjoy the rest of your evening. All of a sudden, the line cuts off. Boss, you're not safe, boss. You're not safe. Well, there wasn't much sense in dwelling over that painful encounter. You're just gonna gloss over the fact that he called you sweetheart? I mean, maybe it was kind of like a Hun thing, kind of like not that kind of sweetheart, but like that kind of sweetheart. I don't know. Let's call Jay. The phone rings exactly 2 times before Jay answers, and we barely get a few minutes into the call before he's suggesting that I come over instead to catch up. Oh. Admittedly, it was a nice idea, and before I know it, I'm picking up my keys and heading out. Uh-oh. Does he live nearby? The walk to Jae Hyun's abode was a peaceful one, and I was grateful for the seaside scenery to keep the air cool and my mind occupied. Soon enough, I find myself on his doorstep, and I barely have to knock 3 times before Jay appears on the other side. Hey, welcome. Make yourself at home. Mi casa es su casa. Jay shuts the door behind me and ushers me deeper into his cozy little beachfront cabin. Ooh. The faint smell of salt water and driftwood greets me before Jay shuffles past to fully open the curtains and let in more of the cool evening breeze. That's it. That's what I want. I want a cottage by the seashore. That's my goal now. That's gonna be my goal in life. That's where I want to be. Is go outside and get seashells. Give me your house, Jaehyun. You just missed Teo. He dropped by earlier and took Maple with him. Maple? You know how much she loves driving around with the windows down. I'd do the same if my car wasn't so busted. Busted? Or is it the fact that you can't go more than 10 meters without hitting something? Oh, har har. I'll be sure to remember that the next time you ask me to drive you somewhere. He casually plops himself onto the sofa before moving a pillow and gesturing for me to join him. Jay already had a bag of microwave popcorn waiting on the table for us, and when I glanced at the television, I noticed some sort of TV show playing on mute. Just dust off Mabel's hair if you see any. She likes to sit in that spot and watch the seagulls. I miss her already. You know she misses you too. I'll bring her around your place next time. Your apartment allows dogs, right? Rats too, apparently. Huh? Nothing. So, anything new happened lately? Got any big plans for Friday? I was thinking about visiting my parents in the city again. It's been a while, and I'm sure they miss me. I mean, who doesn't? At that, he playfully tosses a piece of popcorn into the air and effortlessly catches it in his mouth. What about you? Any plans of your own? You won't believe whose date I'll be third-wheeling tomorrow. No, don't tell me. Teo and Violet? Violet? Pff, God no. Doesn't she hate his guts? That makes it funnier. But if it's not Violet, then it's Teo and Leon. Close, but no. Leon will be there, though. Well, now you've got me all confused. With a fake laugh, I end up telling Jay the whole story. It's Teo and my workmate, Eleanor. Eleanor? She's the blonde one, right? Who knocks over books all the time? I think you've told me about her once. I wouldn't say all the time, but yeah. Teo seems interested in her. Interested? Like, you know, interested? Interested. And worst of all, I can't figure out why. You and I both know he's not the type to go on dates with people. Teo and romance? Unheard of. I couldn't help but laugh at that. Through all my years of knowing Teodoro Alvarado, I have never once heard about him going on dates with anyone. He could definitely get intense and possessive at times, but nothing like this. He just wasn't that type of guy, and I was worried about what Eleanor was getting herself into. But still, people change all the time. I'm sure it wouldn't be impossible for Teo to do the same. Ah, crap. Jay's sudden outburst pulls me away from my thoughts, and I glance over to find him looking at something on his phone. It turns out, Espoir, that a creepy pink-haired stalker guy needs me to leave you alone really quickly. As if picking up on my confusion, he immediately fills in the blanks. Maple's gone and rolled in some dirt again, and Teo absolutely refuses to let her back in his car. I'm sorry, but do you mind if I...
Oh, no, not at all. I didn't realize it had gotten so late anyways.
I can drop you home if you want. It's on the way.
It's okay. I could use some more fresh air.
If you're sure, then.
I'm sure. Thanks for letting me drop by.
Jay beams at that, and before I step out the door, I offer one last request. Give Maple a good belly rub from me.
Aw, Maple.
Well, let's talk to Leon, see what he has to say about the situation. Quickly glancing at the time to make sure it wasn't too late for him, I tap on Leon's name and bring the phone closer to my ear. The phone rings a few times before his warm voice and the ocean greets me, and I find myself wondering why he's still on the beach at this hour.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Probably starting to pack up after a day of volleyball with a few of his friends, no doubt.
Evening, Sunfish. What's up? Everything good?
Hey, Leon. Sorry for calling you so late.
I know we already saw each other earlier, but I guess I wanted to hear your voice again. Line immediately cuts out. Ren starts calling.
Aw, missed me that much? I'm flattered. I missed your voice too.
I feel at ease talking with my childhood friend, and it probably shows, given how I instantly start to melt into the sofa with a soft sigh.
But seriously though, is everything okay? I can come over if you want.
No, it's fine. You don't have to do that.
You might be in danger if you do.
If I'm being honest, I think I've had my fair share of face-to-face conversations already.
Yeah, you did seem tired earlier today.
I'll probably be even more tired tomorrow,
knowing Teo will be involved.
Yeah, he's got that effect on people, unfortunately.
I can hear Leon let out another soft chuckle at his own silly joke.
Speaking of, are you still good with our plans for tomorrow?
Yes, I'm still up for it, but it's Eleanor I'm more worried about.
How so?
Was I really about to confide in Leon about rather personal details regarding my friendships? Well, I guess there's a first for everything. Teo is honestly the worst person for her. I mean, you and I both know he's not exactly the type to settle down, and Elle's the biggest hopeless romantic I know. She always talks about having that white picket fence dream, whereas Teo can barely sit through a single conversation about his own feelings. I knew I was beginning to ramble at this point, but I couldn't seem to stop myself. And what's worse is that Teo was suddenly interested in relationships all of a sudden. I don't get what his motives are.
Maybe he's trying to change his ways. You know how Teo can be. The bloke's always full of surprises.
It was a weak response, but I could tell Leon was trying his best to reassure me.
Besides, I met Eleanor today, and she seems real sweet. Maybe Teo feels the same way.
Doubt.
It just doesn't seem like something he'd do, though.
Yeah, I guess so. No worries, doll. You can always come to me for anything. I don't mind. Even if it... No?
His voice gets cut off before the only thing I can hear is static noise.
Leon?
Gah. Hello? The reception is spotty here. Hey, are you... Espoir? I might have... end this call.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Barely. Listen, I gotta go now. But if anything comes up, just text me, yeah? I'll call you back as I'm able to.
Don't worry about it, Leon. Thanks for talking to me. Get home safe, all right?
Well, now that you said that, I think I'm gonna do the opposite. Just kidding. See you tomorrow, Sunfish.
All of a sudden, the line cuts off. Well, there wasn't much I could do about a faulty connection. Figuring I had nothing left to do for the night, I decide it's finally time to call Teo. I don't want to call Teo, but I want to see what happens. I want him to explain himself. Without thinking, I tap on Teo's number and bring the phone close to my ear. It was almost a humbling experience, sitting here and waiting for Teo to answer. His phone was practically glued to his hand at all times, so I knew for a fact that he was aware of me calling, and was probably letting it draw out this long for his own personal entertainment. No, I'm just gonna yell at him. But just when I'm about to end the call and do something more productive instead, he finally answers in that smug tone of his.
Still thinking about me? It's barely been a few hours.
Unfortunately. Are you doing anything right now?
I might be doing someone later, if that's what you're asking.
It wasn't.
Aw, don't be like that, doll. I'm just messing with you.
I'll mess with you? I'll mess with you like a sledgehammer on the side of your head.
What? Are you bored or something? Want me to change that?
Ren, can you end this call now? Ren, can you do your little doodly do and end this call immediately? Maybe have the phone blow up in his ear.
Yes, actually.
Do you mind coming over? I have food.
You think I'd prefer food over you? That's really cute.
I can hear shuffling from his end, and what sounds like the television being turned down.
Actually, you live on the north side of the bay, right? In that crappy rundown complex?
Okay, ouch. And yes, but it's only crappy if you squint. Everything looks fine on the outside.
Yeah? If that's the case, then I think I'm gonna do a rain check on this little evening rendezvous.
Good, because I didn't want you to show up anyway, you butt. You butt trash. You trash butt. You butt made entirely of trash.
What? Why?
No reason. I just suddenly changed my mind. But don't worry.
I can hear Teo shift again before the sounds of the ocean filter in, cluing me in on his whereabouts. He's probably in his beachside villa, standing on one of his many stupidly expensive balconies that overlook the beach.
We'll be seeing each other tomorrow. Surely you can wait that long.
You mean you'll be seeing Eleanor tomorrow, right? He better not be flirting with Eleanor to get back at me. He better not break her little heart. Oh my gosh. I will take whatever weapon that Ren has and I will use it myself on him. Feeling brave, I figure I might as well call him out on his strange behavior from this morning.
The blonde one? Sure.
Rage! Sure. You don't exactly sound too certain, or happy for that matter.
And you don't exactly sound jealous to me either.
What? You'd better not.
Jealous? Did he really just say that? Again? Why on earth would Teo want me to feel that way? He was so obviously showing interest in Eleanor this morning, so what did my feelings matter to him?
Nothing. Look, something just came up. I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.
Teo? All of a sudden, the line cuts off. Hold on, Ren, I wanted to hear the rest of that. You hold on a second.
Jeez, what was up with him today? This wasn't like his usual self, and it was throwing me for a loop.
But, great, thanks to Teo, I'm annoyed again. Okay, the start of day 3, going full Ren, just full on crushing on Ren, just full, please sleep in my bed and give me goodnight kisses route with Ren. Hug Ren from behind, hee 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 hee. Quietly tiptoeing behind the taller man, I wait for the perfect opportunity to strike, before wrapping my arms around his waist and resting my head on his broad backside. Espoir! I didn't hear you. Despite his flustered outburst, Ren doesn't seem to move from my hold. In fact, he almost seems to melt and lean into my touch instead. Aww. And almost as if to confirm my thoughts, I feel him wrap one of his arms around my waist to pull me in for a brief hug.
Oh, it's like we're already a married couple.
Ahem. Good morning, Espoir. I was going to surprise you with breakfast in bed. Sorry. Did I take too long? He leans down, close enough that I could make out the faint marks and blemishes on his cheeks, yet far away to be just out of reach.
Aww.
I'm still full from the dessert I had last night. He means the 18-plus scene that I didn't show. But still, Ren, you need to eat actual food, still. You can't be the only one who's allowed to tease people, Angel. Seemingly satisfied with my response, or lack thereof. You mean blushing uncontrollably? Ren lets out a pleased hum, and instead moves away to busy himself with washing the dishes. How could you, Ren? I mean, free food and a free outing? It was too good to refuse. However... What if I say no? I have a feeling that it's gonna wrap around to say yes, but what if I say no? Teo scoffs at my answer, while Eleanor visibly deflates. I'm doing this for your own good, Ellie.
Sorry, guys, but I just don't feel up for it. No, I get it. Please don't feel pressured to do something you don't want to, Espoir. I can tell you've been on edge lately. I wouldn't want to add any more unnecessary stress.
Yeah, cool. Whatever. I'm sure Jay would be happy to join us instead. Without so much as glancing in my direction, he pulls out his phone and immediately starts to text someone. Eleanor awkwardly shuffles on her feet at the abrupt end of the conversation, but otherwise, she doesn't seem to pick up on Teo's curt behavior. Save yourself, Ellie!
Great. It couldn't possibly get more awkward than this.
There you are, Espoir. I didn't realize you were busy.
Finally, it was as if someone had heard my prayers this time. But as I'm slipping out of the library's back door, I notice Teo, Eleanor, Leon, and Jay all standing around the alleyway's entrance in an avid conversation. Planning their outing tomorrow, no doubt. And despite the cold treatment Teo gave me earlier for rejecting his offer, it was nice to see Eleanor out and making new friends.
Yeah, I think this is a much better outcome.
Deciding not to ruin their fun, I quietly sneak out the back door and take the opposite route home. But something at the back of my mind must have seriously been bothering me, because I didn't even feel like visiting the manga store on my way back. Geez, whatever it was, I hope it'll pass soon. Once home, I waste no time in shrugging off my work clothes, preparing something to eat, and getting ready for bed. The newest chapter for Always With You would be out soon, and I was interested to see what would happen between the main character and her love interest next. Of course, no one could ever replace my beloved Haruko, but he was slowly starting to climb his way up my list. Unlike some of the other mainstream love interests, he treated the MC with so much respect and adoration, and seeing their strong bond somehow filled an unknown empty gap in my heart. Perhaps it was no more than wishful thinking, but I've always longed to have a deep connection like that with someone. Yet, in all my years of living, I've never actually found anything remotely close to it, let alone in the city or in Corland Bay.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
I couldn't help but let out a heavy sigh at that, before realizing just how silly I was acting, and replacing it with a scoff instead. Well, whatever. At least I still have my fictional crushes. With that in mind, I sluggishly crawl into bed and brainstorm ways to spend my day off tomorrow to help me fall asleep. But just as I decide on what to make for breakfast, my mind barely registers the sound of my window sliding open.
Sliding open? Wait, what? 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 Ren, what? Why didn't you agree to go on the date, Angel? Why? Is it because of Teo?
It's because I'm protecting Eleanor's innocence.
Because of me? Were you thinking about me?
Yeah, actually. Like, no, I don't want to go on a date. I want to go on a date with Ren.
Did you want to see me again? Is that it? Espoir, I missed you too. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you as much today. But I saw you. I couldn't take my eyes off of you. You're so fun to watch, Angel. It's so cute when you think you're by yourself. I could see you, shaking behind the reception counter earlier. Were you thinking about me? Don't worry. I'll always be with you. Do you want to be with me too? Is that why you were trying to meet me here? Keep it up, and I won't let you leave next time. Do you want that? Do you want to be with me? Here? Forever? Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Ren, calm down, please.
Espoir, Espoir.
Eep!
I'm just kidding.
Don't you kid like that.
I only wanted to tease you a little. Get your heart racing the same way you make mine. Please don't be scared of me. You know I'd never hurt you. But the thought of always having you by my side is so overwhelming. I ache to have you near. Did you know that? And now that I finally have you here again, maybe I could... No, I can't. Not yet.
What means this? What means this, Ren?
This time, I want you to agree to go on a date with that annoying crap stain. As much as I want to be with you here forever, there's still so much planned out for the both of us. I can't see it, but I can feel it. I can tell something big is going to happen soon. I can't wait to see what it is. I can't wait to experience it with you too, Espoir. All right, I'm going to send you back now. No jump scares this time. I promise, Angel.
Okay, I'll believe you. I will trust you completely. Do not betray my trust, Ren.
So be good and do as I say, okay?
Okay.
I love you, Angel. I love you so much.
Calm.
Until next time.
All right. Okay. I trust you. I trust you, Ren. Oh, all right. I guess I'll do it. Darn it. Sure. Why not?
Oh, Ren? He's not my boyfriend. We're just...
No, correction. Actually, he is my boyfriend. I love him to bits.
God, no need to rub it in my face.
Oh, I will commence rubbing, Olivia. By the way, Olivia, where were you in that last playthrough, huh?
And why are you so indecisive? Either he's your boyfriend or he's not. You know what? I'm not even sure why I'm having this conversation with you. Forget it. I'm in a rush, so please move.
You better move. You better watch your step, lady.
What if I say, you've got some crumbs on your face? Before I can stop myself, I reach out towards Ren's face and gently wipe away the crumbs from his cheek. Oh. My fingers brush against his bottom lip, and I can't help the slight tinge of pink that blooms on my cheeks. Ren seems to be sporting a similar look of his own before he awkwardly clears his throat and goes back to eating. Thank you.
Oh. Well. Okay, so what
What if, I keep watching the movie, but not with the 18+ scene?
What was I thinking? This movie was clearly messing with my head. Suddenly, I slapped my cheeks and focused my attention back to the TV screen. But every so often, my gaze flickers back to Ren to see if he was feeling just as awkward as I was throughout the scene, and it seems I was right. Oh, he's blushing so hard. It's almost painful watching him awkwardly clear his throat a few times, until his interest ultimately shifts towards my wall instead. I also feel the urge to look away once the couple starts to get even more handsy with each other, and when it starts to become too much to bear, I impulsively change the channel. A monotone voice droning on about the weather fills the silence, and I feel the couch move as Ren shifts in his seat.
That was,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's little bits of other things I could do, but I think that's all I can do right now at this moment. Whew, boy. Oh, that was just from day 3. Well, that was day 3 of 14 days with you, and keep in mind that this game is meant for players 18 and over. On day 4, it seems like we're going to be going on some kind of aquarium double date with Leon and Teo and Eleanor, but it seems like Teo isn't interested in Eleanor. It seems like he's more interested in making me jealous. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this thing, all these shenanigans and goings-on that are happening. Apparently, Ren doesn't want me to talk to my friend Moth. How dare he? So leave a comment in the comment place if you have a comment that you would like to comment on. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself. Have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.